Greetings, cyberspace. It is I, Terra, your favorite cyber bitch here. And tonight's title is The Musketeers is Terra's show, not anyone else's. And that's fucking true. Tonight I have with me my baby brother, an American Celt.
Hey.
I have the mechanic.
What's up?
And I have Scooby 331.
Hey, hey.
Alright, so apparently people think that the Musketeers is Scooby's thing. It is not. What happened is when Chaos was shot in the back of the head, dismembered, and then fucking buried at the four corners of the earth, we were going to start another streaming group. Well, that never fucking picked up. And some people were just like, oh, I'm not going to stream. I don't want to deal with all this drama, blah, blah, blah. And I said, fuck it. I'm addicted to it now. I want to stream. So I decided that, there were some of us that were sticking by Scooby's side. And I was like, oh, perfect name, the Musketeers. So that's where the Musketeers came from. It's mine. Period. No ifs, ands, no fucking buts.
Yeah, I have been saying this to people. Specifically, Friday night, it's been, I call it the chaos stream because there's really no rhythm to it. It's how I run it.
Turn off the show in the background or something.
Okay. I thought that was just me that was hearing that.
No.
Hearing what?
Background noise.
Echo going. Or you did. All right, continue, Scoop.
Yeah, I actually had to open the door to let in the dogs. So, and I didn't want to make too much noise. So anyway, yeah, well, Friday nights were, I call it the chaos stream because, there's really no succinct rhythm to it. It flows. And I told people, Friday night chaos, I consider it like the last bastion of the streaming group that we had. And I hold on to it just because I like having it the way it was. And that's what I tell people, like, Friday night chaos is Friday night chaos. It's a standalone. I tell people, yes, I stream with the Musketeers now. That's the name of the group that we're in, and it's Terra's streaming group. And I've said this to people when they've asked me about it, because they said to me, I thought Chaos was 120 was dead. I said, well, yeah, that's why I called the title of the stream on Friday the Friday Night Chaos stream, because it's the only stream that I host. I'm a guest on the other stream, and specifically I did that because of this, because when like last year or the year before, I forget when, we were on Mines, and we got into it with first we got into it with Hearts Project. Was that it? Yeah, Hearts Project, I think was their name, the pedos. And then we got into it with these crazy eco-terrorists that called themselves Wolf, which was an acronym for I don't know, something stupid. So they were referring to everyone that was involved in both of these things, and I'm talking like a few dozen
fuckers.
They were referring to everybody that was involved that I was talking to on my end, and we're talking like maybe a dozen people or more easily. They were calling them the Scooby Crew, and I don't know what it could have been on mine specifically, because no one had even heard my voice yet, or seen me live with that getup or anything. All they had known for me was the avatar and the fact that it said on my profile I was a New Yorker. So I don't know what else could have distinguished me enough where people were attributing the actions of everybody as me being the ringleader. I hadn't done too much to distinguish myself. I think, if anything, I contributed the least out of all these people. But that's my whole point. I wasn't streaming at this point yet. I actually had just started streaming months later. I actually stopped using Mines because they kicked Burnside off. Burnside went out in legendary fashion, granted, but they threw him off, and so I just stopped using Mines because Burnside wasn't on there anymore. When I originally was on Mines, I was talking to a few different people, and he he got me really involved with it, talking to people and networking. And, you know, he is part of the reason we wound up talking to six of it originally was because like Diogenes and Burnside were, you know, doing a lot of talking to different people, and Pox was doing a lot of talking to different people. And that's why we all started talking about going to DC together, you know, and that's what really got me involved. And so when they booted Burnside off, um, it kind of like, you know, plus I was dealing with these terrorists going after me like insane amounts. Like they were using these special things where they could downvote one person could downvote the same thing like 100 times or whatever. So I was getting hundreds of downvotes. I had like they were using these sock profiles, like they had this special software where one person again could be dozens of people. So I put out a video and I was getting all of this horrific hate shit put on there. And it was, you know what it was? It wasn't because, again, they were going after me. I didn't particularly give a fuck. I kept trolling. But they started doing, like, the same pattern I've seen here on YouTube, which was they were going after people I was friends with because I didn't care that they were going after me. You know, I grew up with the whole sticks and stones thing. I come from that era. You know, somebody says something to you, you say something back, you know, or you ignore them, you know. But if you, that's how you do it. So when people came after me, I would just tell them, you know, fuck you, and none of them could deal with it. And the same thing again when I came on here. Like I was talking to that the fuck is his name, that mad libertarian earlier today, and look, I told him I woke up this morning at like 7 something this morning, and this guy's sending me like he sent me this Tupac video, "Ride or Die on My Enemies" or whatever the hell it is. I was never a fan of Tupac, to be honest, so I'm not too familiar with it. But I know the song. Is what I'm saying.
Ride on our enemies.
Yeah, he sent me this at 7 something this morning. I wake up and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And so I go to hit him back, and he has me blocked. I'm like, "All right," and so I go to look on the stream because he was streaming about me today, and I just tuned in at the right time to hear this guy going on about how I started with him this morning. And this was the first message in the message history between me and him ever. I had hit the guy up a few months ago when they went after Bartender, and that was it. He blocked me right afterwards. So I went back, and the thing I had sent him, I deleted just because it's just sitting there in this fucking empty history. And, you know, he couldn't, he had me blocked anyway. So just I have like this anal thing about it. It was bothering me that it was just sitting there, and so I went back and deleted it. Like I have a weird thing about that. I admit it. I'm a little bit OCD with certain things. Like when I get into arguments with people and they left my server, I've stopped doing it since then because it came back to bite me in the ass. I went back and I would delete all the shit that they wrote because I was one of those people. I treated it like a breakup, and you know, that came back to bite me in the ass because, you know, that's actually why I started letting Terra, you know, have access to my Discord so she could screenshot everything. And the same thing with Burnside, because I was originally, plus my computer can't handle it. It's a piece of shit. But I was from the school of thought originally, like when I was younger, you know, because I've been on the internet for a few years. You don't go after people like the private shit in DMs. You don't do a lot of the tactics that a lot of these people came at me with. And that's part of the reason I got so broadsided. But like I told this guy today, I said, the reason I haven't been responding to you, I don't fucking care. I mean, I care that, you know, you go after the people I'm friends with. To me, that's cowardly. But other than that, I don't give a fuck. You want to sit here and say shit, say shit. Go right the fuck ahead, but be warned. You know, when you start taking shit to that next level, when you go extra, and you start going after people I'm friends with and you start getting people involved, that's when I'm going to say shit like, yeah, if I ever see the person, I'm probably going to punch them in the fucking mouth. Now, this is the same thing. Look, if I was sitting here doing the same exact thing and somebody said to me, you know, if I ever see you, Scooby, I'm going to punch you in the fucking mouth, I'd probably say, you know, I deserve that. Like, I have enough self-awareness to know if I'm being a douche and I deserve getting a fucking shot to the jaw. You know, a lot of these people, they don't realize it. And I'm just saying, look, all these fucking people that have been running their mouths now for the past couple of months, get the fuck over it. Get on with it. Get on with your goddamn lives. What the, you know, for Christ's sake, excuse me for using his name in vain, but what the fuck? What is wrong with all you people? I don't really seem to grasp where you feel you're going to get traction or mileage or anything with this shit. I mean, I'm not out there doing shit to people. I never was to begin with. All I did was people who came at me, and they came at me sideways. I told them, go blow it out your ass. I don't want to be bothered with you. And everyone's feelings got hurt. Look, I'm sorry. I'm not fucking Mr. Rogers. I'm not Mother Teresa. I'm not going to sit here and hold your fucking hand. That's not what I was put on this earth for. And I'm sorry if people, got this whole impression that everyone on YouTube has to get along and we're all going to, go up on the roof, hold hands, and sing Kumbaya as the sun sets. That's not how it's going to happen. Anyone who has a problem with me, I've told them, look, you can come at me. I'll talk to you. I'll be civil. But this shit like today, I'm not playing these fucking reindeer games anymore. I don't fucking care. I did it originally. I tried to, meet people on their level because it's not about me. I have a fucking streaming group I'm part of. This panel here is my friends. I don't want to see them catch shit because they're friends with me. So I tried to be cordial and amiable with people. And when you try to do that and they don't get the results they want, they turn around and they start trying to blackmail people with CPS. So that's when I said, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to do this shit anymore. And that's when they started going after people I streamed with and people I was friends with. And that's what brings us to this impasse today. And this is just a continuation of the same shit. And it's really sad. And a lot of this was because one person's got an obsession and another person, unfortunately, has a delusion. And these two people got together and what you had was a shitstorm. And it was a shitstorm that lasted 4 hours and 19 minutes. So, I'm sorry that, Terra's dealing with this shit because, the Musketeers is her stream. It's not my stream. I'm just here as part of the panel. That's it. And I feel bad like people that I stream with or talk to that they're getting shit and they're getting flack still. I mean, look, it's obvious. If you've seen anything that went down today, these people are desperate at this point now for relevancy or clicks or whatever the fuck else they're telling me I'm desperate for. I mean, have you noticed the dozens upon dozens of videos I've been cranking out, just dying of trying to get myself relevant and get my name out there? Nah, I haven't done shit. Today was the first thing in weeks. I was in a supermarket and I seen that they got oat milk. So I cut a video. What was it? A minute and a half, maybe? All right, look, I don't have a decent camera right now, so I'm not filming videos. If I was so dire and desperate to be relevant, I'd have at least 2-3 Twitter accounts. I'd be sitting here cutting videos about every fucking thing I could cut. I'd be doing trying to do takedown videos and shit, even if it was, anything like getting the thumbs down. Anything. If I really wanted it that bad, if I was that hungry for it, I'm not. I came on here to talk about shit that's going on around here in New York because I think that New York at this point is the canary in the coal mine. Everyone just blew it off until we elected a fucking commie. And that's what I've been on here since. I stream with this avatar because I don't like the social engineering that Disney is doing. I wear a fucking flag on my face. I think if anything shows my motivation, it should be these things I just outlined. But again, people they keep doing the same shit over and over. It's getting old and it's getting tiring. And again, I just love the fact that I have to wait till 10 o'clock at night, my time, to talk about some shit that I woke up to at 7-something this morning. I didn't even wake up to it. I came home to it. I took my wife to work. I come home and I'm looking. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And this is the thing. Again, this he's a grown man with children, and he keeps saying over and over on the air, he threatened to hurt my family, asshole. Let me say this to be clear. I don't threaten to hurt people's children. I never have. I never will. Now, the most you'll ever get out of me is, maybe, just maybe, if you're enough of a fucking fuzzy douche, I might smack the shit out of you in front of your kid because your kid has to see, look, daddy's a douchebag. You really got to go on some extra shit. You got to take your mother's wheelchair and hock it to go buy a video game controller for me to go to that level. You got to go beyond. You know, because that's something, you know, look, I don't ever interfere with how you raise your kid, but if you're really being a bad example, yeah, I might smack you around. But I've never done that because I've never been confronted in real life with somebody that's that level of scumbag, you know? So, but for me to say that to certain people, you know, that's one of those things. Well, gee, why the hell is he saying this to me? Maybe you should look at it that way instead of getting into a fucking rage. Because people don't usually say things to you right off the bat unless you're doing something wrong. Now, a lot of people on here, they had a problem with me. They didn't like me because of my fucking accent. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I sound like a goddamn Batman goon. It's not something I'm pretty, you know, I'm not too proud of the fact that I sound like this. I don't exactly enjoy it.
We love
You
you
know,
anyway.
thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you just, you know, I'm an intellectual. And unfortunately, my accent makes me sound not. And it is what it is. But people got, you know, they got their hatreds in their head for whatever reason. They got whatever stuff going on. Look, all these people that have been going after me and coming after me, I don't fucking care about any of them. I don't. I didn't cut any response videos. I'm only talking about this shit today specifically because this was some off the rails shit. This is, you know, at the point like, look, this guy even said, well, you know, Scooby and I have never actually talked. Then how the fuck do you know I said all this shit about you?
Let them know that the main reason why this shit happened is because Sarah overstepped her bounds when it came to my show.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. You kind of stepped on the. That's what this whole buildup was up to. But
I'm
continue.
sorry.
It's all right. No, I'm getting like right to the point where I'm gonna say, well, the reason I'm saying all this is it. But you beat me to it. You stole my thunder. Damn you. It's all good. No, continue though.
Is that yeah, I was having her on as a regular, and you know, because I was giving her the benefit of the doubt of everything I was hearing, everything I was being told. And I'm like, okay, well, if she fucks me over, you know, she won't like it. And so this past Saturday, Burnside fell asleep watching a movie. And so she's freaking out because there's no one's about to stream. And she's like, if I have to, I'll run it on my own fucking channel. I'm like, no, if Burnside doesn't show, there's no fucking show. Well, I don't know why no one else can run it. You know, I could run it. Your brother could run it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. And then the next night, because I'm pissed, I didn't throw her a link. Also, mind you, she had posted in our group chat that she's sick and she wouldn't be able to stream because she doesn't have a voice. How many here saw that message?
I did, and she asked me to look at it closely. And what it was a run-on sentence, and then in the other half of it, she said, "But if I'll stream anyway, just send me a link, and I'll sit here quietly muted." And she asked me, "Look at the thing carefully," and I told her, I said, "Well, yeah," I said, "You have to read it like 2-3 times to catch it." I said, "You know, I just glanced at it at first, you know, which I'm sure is what everyone did." I said, because you know the way you wrote it, I said it was a bit of a run-on sentence.
Yeah,
you know,
half of it.
Yeah, yeah, you know, because I try to keep things concise. Yeah. Well, that's why I try to keep messages really short when I, you know, throw them in the group thing, because no one's going to read a novel. I'll fill you in when I see you, you know?
And so she ends up, you know, I wasn't sending her a link, and I only sent it because my brother called me out on air. Huh? Yeah, now you chirping. And so she messages me saying, is there going to be a problem with me coming on stream? I'm like, I didn't say anything because I was going to, and then I'm like, no, I'm going to say something that I'm going to fucking regret. Well, because I have access to Scooby's Discord, he had messaged me saying, you need to tell Sarah you're pissed at her. Well, I did all my running around, and I finally came home and went and read what she was saying to him. And so I was like, okay. And I will read off exactly what I said. Let me get it pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yes, I'm pissed at you. I've been irritated for a while now. It started with the shit show on 12/29. You went fucking ballistic, and it went from a Musketeers show to the Sarah shit show. But I let that slide after a while. There's 4 Musketeers, me, Burnside, Kelt, and Scooby. The original 3 were just me, Burnside, and Scooby. I started it because Chaos died, Lade wasn't going anywhere, and people were a little scared to stream. Then you flipped the fuck out about Burnside not hosting Saturday night. Guess what? If he wants to not do a show, then he doesn't have to do a show. Then in the same breath, you try and dictate how my shows should be run. Hell no. You are a guest that I am having on regularly. If I don't want to send someone a link, I don't have to. Because she was saying that we needed to start having the stream ready an hour and a half before, and that we needed to have weekly meetings and talk about how this stuff needs to be situated. And mind you, she has yet to reply to me. No, she goes running and crying to Scooby. Because apparently, Scooby has some way to control me.
I love how he called this a shit show like it's some historical event.
It was a shit show. I'm going to say this flat out right now. Nobody controls me, and my brother can vouch to that.
Yeah. Nah, believe me, I don't even try. You know, there's been a few times where if it even seemed like I was coming across that way, Terra let me know that was not going to fly. Also, that I don't really have to be pushy. It's not that sort of a power dynamic here. You know, Terra's very accommodating, and I'm not particularly demanding. So basically, this is the extent of actually how far it goes with like the whole way she runs things. It's just like when people start to question things, now she's got to let them know who runs things, because that's the thing. It was the same way on Chaos. There's no demanding like we have to do things this way. You know, it's not how it was. We don't run the stream that way. I've been guests on streams that are run that way, and I find it a little bit weird that it's like, you know, internet fiefdom. Like there's a guy running the stream and the rest of you are subjugated to him. That's a little bit weird. Yeah, I'm not into that, to be honest. This is, you know, look, everyone I'm here talking to is specifically because I like everyone here. The fact that we have a good dynamic together as a group. I mean, even Chaos, we were treating it a little bit more professionally, but nowhere near as professional as Sarah was talking, with like hour and a half before each stream and weekly meetings. And I mean, did she say spreadsheets, or am I just like taking that next step in my head?
You're taking the next step. No, she said to you, and I quote, "She's just jealous that I know how to run the show better than she does. Running a YouTube channel is like running a business. Bitch, this is a fucking hobby.
Yeah.
My business is sewing. I am a seamstress."
For some people, YouTube is a business and streaming is a business.
Well, if it were a business for me, then I would already be at $1,000 mark and be able to have fucking super chats.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I came on here as a professional, but that was because in my former life I was an actual professional in mass media. So I came on with that prior experience, but not looking to build a media empire. That's part of the thing when, you know, I actually scoffed at it, like that one girl, Leaf, unapologetic Leaf. She kept insisting over and over, Scooby's so desperate to be relevant. No, not at this juncture, specifically because I lack the equipment and the funds to actually put out enough content to meet demand for somebody that is at that point. You know, like somebody like Matt Christensen actually has the microphone and he has the recording studio and the camera and the time that he can afford to do all that. I don't have any of that. Those are all luxuries I lack. Am I motivated to be relevant? No. My motivation is actually, like I said, if I come across news as a journalist, I want to make that relevant. Like when I was sitting here yelling and hollering about Ocasio-Cortez when she was running for office, no one listened to me. It was only when she fucking won that people started listening. You know? And that has always been my motivation, not relevancy.
I have to take it off course. Optimus Christ is in the chat. He says, I'm a robot. I win. Praise Doug. I sat here giggling a little bit. I'm like, I have to say it.
Of course. No, that's cool. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things. I find it baffling. The amount of projection that all these people have. You know, like they're all convinced that they're going to, you know, be the next fucking Merv Griffin. Look, it's all well and good. A lot of these people put out good content. I'm not going to lie. I don't normally watch what people put out. But videos like the ones that Foster puts out, you know, I enjoy those. You know, and I can watch them. You know, part of the reason I watch people like Sargon when he has good shit, and I know Burnside's gonna hate me saying it, but when he has good shit, he's on point. You know, Razor Fist, I don't agree with him 100% of the time, nor do I agree with Six Hexenhammer 100% of the time. But if they have good content, I'll watch it. And like, that's the thing. If I actually could afford the time to sit there and check every single thing, I'd cut videos like Six Hexenhammer. I don't have that time. Bless you. You know, it's just
it's notification for him like every 20 minutes.
Right. It's part of the reason I've been trying. Like everyone said, I'm trying to get relevant. No, I was just trying to get my name out there to get crowdfunding so I could get equipment. I live outside of Manhattan, for God's sake. I can just go in there anytime there's crazy shit going on and film it and put it up. Like that's the thing. When these people are out there rioting and protesting, and you guys don't hear about it in the rest of the country, I'd like to get used to know it. And that's always been my motivation. I do not have any desire to be fucking famous. You can see, look, I'm unknown, and people have been trying to take me the fuck out. Can you imagine if I got big? Nah, I got no desire for that.
Optimus in the chat says, I want to be the next PewDiePie in terms of sub count and views anyway. Does that count?
Hey, more power to you, brother. You know, it's like the old song by Puff Daddy and Biggie, more money, more problems. And it's the same thing when you get as big as PewDiePie, you got the Wall Street Journal doing fucking hit pieces on you. I mean, look, I never wanted to be a celebrity of any shape, of any stripe. You see these movies where they show, or even the TV shows or the shit on Lifetime, a person's a celebrity, and they're being chased by paparazzi. They go and they try to use a public bathroom. They're coming underneath the stall with a camera. Who the fuck wants that? Not me. Nah. Seriously, I show up someplace, I don't want you to know who the fuck I am. I want to eat my dinner in peace if I'm at a restaurant.
Dude, if they do that to me and it's that time of the month, they are getting assaulted with a bloody tampon.
Ugh, thank you. Just as I was about to bite into a donut. Fucking cosmic timing. No, it's not jelly. It's a chocolate Entenmann's.
Are you sure it's chocolate?
Yes, I'm sure it's chocolate. I just bought the thing from the store a few hours ago.
Optimus says, being a MGTOW, the only problem I would have is money, and that is a problem I would love having.
I guess. I don't know. I don't understand the whole MGTOW thing myself. I thought that these guys were called bachelors at one point. I guess these guys are sworn off sex. Is that what it is? I know it stands for men going their own way. I'm fully aware of what it stands for, but I don't understand the premise.
They want to cut women out of their lives entirely.
Not necessarily. Optimus, I sent you the link. Hop in if you want to describe your version of being a MGTOW.
Yeah, I'm curious now.
Here's the nomination.
I don't know. Like, I like women too much. If I was single,
he says, let me switch to the headset.
Yeah. Like, if I was single, yeah, I'd be out playing the field. There's no way on earth. Actually, no, let me rephrase that. I have talked to some of these thank God I'm with my wife. I was talking to some of these younger people who are out dating. Yeah, most of them are insane. So I actually, I can understand the MGTOW thing a little bit now. Now I look back on it. What?
I said, you're just now learning this?
No, I mean, it's different. Like from when I was younger and I was going out, it was a different type of insanity. I'm talking like, hey, what's going on, bro? Like Sargon, I put up a video about a week or two ago, and it's all of these black Trump supporters wearing MAGA hats, and they're arguing with this bald white chick, and she's screaming about emotions. How facts are fake because they're not emotions. Emotions are the only thing that's real.
Yeah, she is the reason I want a MAGA hat.
There's a lot of girls like that out there now. Now I can see why there's some of this MGTOW shit going on. I mean, if that's what you got to pick from, yeah, I can honestly see that. I'd be like, yeah, peace, adios. I'm going this way.
I wish I had a chance to talk to her though.
I am here.
Yeah, I was saying hello to you before, bro. What's going down?
Not much. So MGTOW, that's about an hour and a half of time there. So let me just say that there's like 3 different kinds, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's the incels who basically by faults of their personality or whatever, they're unattractive to women.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it's involuntarily celibate. They want to get laid, they want to have a relationship, but due to circumstances that they have, nobody wants them. Those are incels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like the pickup artists or the people that just call everyone a fucking pussy because there they are getting pussy, and then they think everyone is an incel, right?
Mm.
And then there's me. Now,
Which
what
one's
I
that
do?
obnoxious MGTOW? Which one's that obnoxious MGTOW? I can't remember his name. He keeps yelling about a war between men and women.
Oh, those would be the angry red pill ragers.
No, there's one in particular. I know Jeff Holiday did a video on him.
Angry MGTOW?
That's him. That's the bitch.
Yeah, I know that one well. I was like, damn. Okay, so he's what we call a red pill rager, right?
Mm-hmm.
Been burned so much by relationships or whatever that they have that they're still stuck in that anger phase, right? The 5 stages of getting past any sort of thing. They're stuck in that anger. They can't get past it to where they focus on themselves and improve themselves for their own betterment. They're consistently angry at women, blame them for everything, and it's you have blinders on at that point. Then you have people like me. It's like, yeah, everyone's going to get angry. That's fine. It's a healthy thing to do. However, if you're stuck in that state and unable to move past it, then you're actually being a detriment to yourself, and that's not MGTOW.
I like that.
So now you have people like me who get past the anger, the anger state, and it's like, okay, what can I do to improve myself according to my goals and what I want to? So I do a cost benefit analysis on everything. If I don't get more out of it than what I put into it, I don't do it.
Yeah, I remember you explaining this to me.
Yeah.
So if I'm investing my time, effort, and energy into it, I better get out the same or more than what I put into it. Otherwise, I'm fucking right off. And that even goes in terms of one-night stands, short-term relationships, long-term relationships. Does it provide a benefit greater than what you're putting in? If it does and you truly enjoy it, do it. That's what going your own way means.
Yeah, it makes sense. I like that.
If it doesn't hurt anyone you know, and it gives you enjoyment and you get more out of it than what you put in, by all means, have fun. With me personally, it is not economically viable to be in a relationship. I'm what you would call a voluntary celibate. My hand does the job just fine, and I can get that shit done faster.
Yeah.
I got shit to do. I don't have 3 hours to be, you know, busting inside of someone when my hand can do it in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm gonna have to cut it short tonight, guys. I am tired as all hell.
I hear you, bro. You gonna be around tomorrow?
Yeah, I should be.
All right, I might be in.
Waterboarding to make you so tired.
Man.
I'll catch y'all tomorrow.
You got it, bro. Good night.
Night.
Yeah, that's the underlying thing. Like the people that claim that they're MGTOW, right? They're stuck in that red pill rage. Those are the types of people that you see that just does videos about how women are evil and look at the hypergamy and look at what this bitch did and look at what that bitch did. And it's like, okay, we get it. You vape. Okay, now what are you doing to focus on yourself? What are you doing to better yourself and according to your goals? Or is your goal just to shit post videos about women in the mainstream media, copy and paste that shit? You know, I mean, the only thing is now that's left when you go down that route is to go monotone.
Yeah.
You know, so it's... And the thing is, like, people ask me, why do I still carry the title when almost everyone associates MGTOW with incels? And then I asked them, like, instead of giving them, you know, an answer that could cause a rebuttal, I asked them, do you see me as an incel? Well, no. Well, then I just broke the mold, didn't I?
Nice. I like that.
You know, so it's like it's what you do that proves your character. With me, for some reason, I talk to who I want to. Some people don't like that. That's cool. Hey, I will tell me to fuck off, and I'll be like, later, I got a game to play. You know,
Nice.
and it's like I do what I want, and I'm not a detriment to anyone.
Yeah. I try to be the same way, but apparently the reverse is happening with me. My presence, my mere presence for some reason is a point of contention. Not gonna lie, I would have enjoyed the shit out of it when I was a teenager, but I'm gonna be 40 soon. So I'm getting old, getting a little long in the tooth for this crazy shit to be going on anymore. Yeah.
Reminds me of the movie War Game, The Dead Code. You know that movie?
It sounds very familiar. If you enlighten me, I might remember it better.
It's a sequel to the old War Game where it had Wamper or Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a sequel to that where they have like an upgraded AI and they're doing a whole 6 degrees of separation and shit. So 2 AIs are battling it out to stop nuclear missiles from firing on everyone, including themselves. So they decide to run tic-tac-toe games against each other. Or they're playing with live nukes, so they do like this Armageddon game. And the AI comes to the conclusion that the only winning move is not to play.
Which is really the best move.
Yeah. I like that. I like the point that you're making.
You know, and that's how I seem to skirt by under everyone's radar.
Yeah.
Because I don't play. I'll fap all day long, but I won't play this game.
I got you. Yeah. That's the same thing. Like I was saying before, I've been, just sticking to myself, sticking to the streaming group, not particularly streaming with other people, just staying low key because people got their shit going on in their heads and they're gonna talk no matter what I do. Obviously, people are gonna talk and do their thing. So I've been staying low key, and to wake up to this shit again when I've just been avoiding talking to these folks, just again. Not like I'm even doing anything or have been doing anything. People got shit going on in their head for whatever reason. And I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to avoid everything. And I come home after taking it to work, kick off the shoes, because I got like 2 hours until the world wakes up because it's like 7 a.m. I'm chilling with the dog and I look over and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's one of those things like, really? It's depressing, man. It is. Just these people really got to just get the fuck over it already. I mean, I don't want to say I feel bad for them because it sounds condescending, but you ever hear there's the saying around here? It's not exactly too eloquent, but they say they're spreading the bullshit so much that they start to believe their own bullshit, and that's what I think today was. I think today was an exercise in echo chamber downsizing, where the echo chamber just got so severe that it was cringeworthy, for lack of a better term.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, like anyone else that asked me about it today, is I have no skin in that game. So
Yeah.
I mean that's between you two. If
No, I'm not asking you to weigh in at all. I'm just saying. I hope you can understand. Like, I'd like to say frustration, but that would take too much energy to be frustrated. I think bamboozled would probably be more of the way I feel about this. Like, I've had like a what the fuck expression on my face for most of the day.
I've been bamboozled.
Yeah, like, not like anyone pulled the wool over my eyes. It's like, one of those, have you ever just had such a bizarre situation broadside you that you're sitting there for a split second, you're like, what the fuck? I've had that feeling most of the day. Like, what the fuck? Like, this.
You know what would fix that, right? If you praised Doug and had a good FEP.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll praise the shit out of Doug for that then. Oh, yeah. Praise Doug, brother.
Everyone praises Doug in the end.
My brother doesn't know who Doug is.
That is blasphemy, sir.
Is that a TV show?
No.
That's like the fifth person that asked that. No. So, okay, so I played a game a while back called Soma. Right? So Soma is a linear storyline, first-person jump scare horror game. Right?
I love those.
Yeah, and so I'm playing this game and I'm going through it, and here I am at every single jump scare. I'm jumping out of my seat, screaming like a bitch, right? And you can actually see it, and I'm like, oh shit! I'm screaming like a bitch. So when I'm going through, it turns out that I'm apparently a dead corpse in a diving suit attached by some gel and mechanics that allow me to move around and everything. Well, I come across this little floating robot, right, with a cutting torch. And I'm like, what's that light underneath those rocks? And then I free it, and then this little robot's just like floating around, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I did something good. Hopefully karma's going to reward me in the end. Well, I come to this point where I'm at a door, and I'm trying to get in, and I'm like, okay, I've exhausted all other options. Guess who comes by? This little fucking floating robot cuts the door open for me, and I'm like, you know what? I like you. I'm going to name you Doug. Now, Doug helped me throughout the game multiple times, and then it just took off from there. I was like, praise Doug. And then it just, boom, religion.
That's really cool. That is really cool. I I'm not saying it either, just blowing smoke up your ass. I actually like that story.
Yeah. And for some reason, like the people who do like the all hell blue whale, They're all like, fuck Doug, because apparently they can't stand having, a god that, can actually be out of water.
I think actually, and this is not me taking a shot against Gulf City, because I already, I've been streaming with the temp lately. It's obvious I got no problem with them, and I never did. That was actually a lot of confusion on my part, and I've said this a bunch of times on the air, but I'm reiterating, because when I first heard them talking about this all hail the blue whale, I was asking what the hell it was, and I kept getting all these different answers from people. And I said this once, and I'm glad I said it off the air, because the reaction I got, and they said, well, Scooby, you ready to hail the blue whale? And I shrugged. I said, bro, I live on Long Island. We're known for a whaling industry. And the whole fucking panel got dead silent. I forget who said it to me. They're like, yo, that's not cool, bro. All right, I'm sorry.
We'll see, the difference between a blue whale and Doug is that Doug still helps you out in games and everything electronic, whether you want it or not. You don't want it, you tell him to fuck off, he'll fuck off. Blue whale will only help you out if you worship him.
Yeah. That's a big problem with me, is the whole worship thing. That's why I identify as a mesotheist. But I can give a nod to Doug, because he sounds cool.
Yeah, because I mean, he was there to help me out through my endeavors in a video game, and I was like, shit, all I did was free him, and he's doing all this nice shit for me. Got more out of it than what I put in. Guess what? Fucking praise Doug.
Yeah, I was never really one for the gods myself. The only god I really liked was Coco Pele, just because he just chills in the corner with his dreadlocks and plays his flute. But him and Dionysus was cool, because he just would lay around on the floor all day drunk. But
I'm
Doug,
unfamiliar with the deity, so I mean, I'm trying to follow along.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm an anthropology nerd. I'm a big nerd in general. But yeah, long story short, the list of gods that I got into could probably fit on one hand. Up and here come the dogs making noise. But yeah, Doug definitely sounds like he would be one of those gods I could, I nod and like raise a drink and be like, praise Doug, definitely.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I for shits and giggles, I downloaded RPG Maker, right? The MV version, which is like $80 retail. Man, I got that shit for free. So I was fiddling around with it. I was like, you know what would be really cool is if I actually developed the backstory of Doug in a video game.
Oh, that is cool.
Like, a lot of people tend to do it through stories or comics or something. No, I want to do it in a video game. I don't think that's been done before, and I want to be the first robot to do it.
That would be really cool. That really would be really, really cool. And yeah, I definitely can't wait to see this when you start working on it, man. Definitely.
I still got a lot of learning to do when it comes to that, but I'm sure that I can do it within a reasonable amount of time. All
right. Look, if you need any hand at all, like, I'm not saying with the writing or anything, but I mean, if you need, I was a journalist professional. I did work at a major New York metropolitan newspaper. I was a tutor for English in the SUNY system, specifically compositional nonfiction. So, bro, if you need any help putting any polish on anything, feel free to ask, man. Definitely. I want to see you do this. And if you haven't any reason whatsoever, like trouble hammering out a specific part, just hit me up. It might be something that I can help you flesh out. I used to help college kids write their thesis. So
yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I foresee more of a problem with the dynamics and like the triggers that would set off certain events.
Right.
So it's like that's more of like a technical issue, and I guess I have to look into that. I mean, hell, I jizzed myself today when I figured out there were actual plugins aside from the base, program, and I was like, oh, hold on, let me go fat.
Optimus, nice. Revenant says, I worship Rizzo, but I guess I can add Doug to the pantheon.
Hey, you know what? That's fantastic, because Doug doesn't mind if you worship other gods. He just wants a little piece of the pie. He's willing to help out.
That's beautiful. That really is. And I tell you, I definitely bro, as soon as you get this up off the ground, I cannot wait to see this. I'll be the first one to tell you when you got this stuff going. I will make it a point to shill the shit out of it for you. We'll even, if you want, like, you can do a release stream where you can hop on and just shill the shit out of your stuff. Like, just sit here. We'll do the whole stream where you can just sit here and chew our ear off about the fucking game, bro, and about like what you're doing. I got no problem helping you promote it. Seriously.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll toss keys out. You know, I think I'll like. I gotta look into what Steam does when it comes to like actual developers, because this will be my first time developing like a full-fledged game. Right? Like, yeah, I've worked on bits and pieces in the past and different elements, but this would be like the first full-fledged game that I've ever created. And if it actually turns out to be good, it's like I'll drop 50 keys, provided I know how the system works and research into it. And then I'll sell it for like ridiculously cheap, because the purpose would be like, you know, $1.99, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone would be like, holy shit, an indie game, $1.99. Just let me try it out. Sure, it might be 15 hours of gameplay, but it gets the backstory of Dugout. Now you got the seed.
Yeah. And now you also have the seed capital to actually expand and make a game where you get a few hundred hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, you know, I was a journalist, but the only reason I became a journalist was so I could break into comic books. So it's basically what I'm tailored for is comic book writing. So again,
I toyed around with the idea of doing comics, but then I remembered that I can't draw for shit.
yeah, that was my problem too. I went to school originally for art and I failed out because I'm at my best, I'm a good artist, but I'm not a stupendous artist. I'm not a great artist. I'm passable.
I'll tell you what, I'll make the sexiest stick figure you've ever fucking seen if you want a stick figure, okay? It's
yeah.
You know, I can even draw 2 circles for boobies.
Yeah.
If you like the fat ass, 2 circles and you know on the bottom part, you know.
I have like that sort of art style where it's good and it looks good. If you're a 10-year-old, you know, I kind of peaked in grade school. It's not that I'm a bad artist. It's like, oh, okay, it's better than some of the shit I've seen. People tell me things like that. So I just happened to stumble into writing. Actually, what made me change majors was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas had come out, and it had introduced me to Hunter S. Thompson. And what it was, I did not realize that my family members who were into law enforcement and military, who had these stuffy, stodgy books about the Hells Angels, that this was the same guy. So I had read his stuff when I was earlier, but just because I was a shitball kid and I didn't have any brains in my head, I didn't appreciate what I was looking at. And seeing that movie and hearing Depp recite it, even though I'm not too fond of Johnny Depp, that really that made me decide to change paths and go into journalism, because I do have a knack for words. Not so much when I speak, much more so when I write. So that's what made me decide to change and go into writing as opposed to art. But bro, comics all day. That's always been my motivation as a writer.
Man, if
Optimus, you there?
nobody does anything for free. If I could get a competent artist to do like the artwork, I have some great ideas for some comics. And this would be like the backstory of like all new villains, where it reflects like every single hero that you could imagine. It's just they took a different route, and the actual storyline is by the end of it, you're gonna feel the justification for them wanting to wipe out the fucking world.
I'd like to read that myself. That sounds actually like it would be a good read. If
we look at it, right, heroes, you know, they all have this, you know, trope of tragic stories that happen to them, right? But then somehow they miraculously overcame it and decided that they were instantly better than anyone, you know, and didn't even take in consideration of the backstory behind criminals on the reason why they do the way they do, and just decide to be like, you bad, you know. No, it's so with the way that I would explain that is the storylines that I have in mind would explain the backstories behind the villains, and they would often reflect like the same things heroes have, but instead of saying having powers or something, maybe like one's a scientist, right? Had a loving family. All of a sudden, his family gets, he's working on a certain type of nanotechnology that can accelerate the healing process a million times over, right?
Mhm.
Now, the thing is, he's just close to finishing it when some accident happens that kills his entire family. But because he's so close to it, he couldn't save them because the research wasn't done yet. Because the way that they were killed off is that they had wounds so horrific that without that nanotech, they couldn't recover.
Right.
Now he's faced with that realization that if he had just worked harder, he could have saved his entire family. Well, in any hero situation, a hero would, finish the tech and then, give it to humanity as a gift so that way everyone can live healthier lives. No, this guy, he envelops himself in the work because depression hits. Then all of a sudden his coworkers are starting to, rip on him. It's like, huh, you still trying to finish that? Couldn't save your family. He was pushed over to the edge. And now he finished the tech. He found out a way to manage to be able to heal himself like Wolverine and be able to configure the nanotech cells to be able to construct any weapon that he wants, give it any attribute that he wants. Like, you know what? Fuck this. Kills his coworkers. And it's like, guess it ain't saving you neither, bitch.
I actually like that concept.
And then all of a sudden it's like he's the bad guy because people kept egging him on and he didn't have no glorifying moment of self-realization that he could do better because he wasn't given that opportunity.
I'm liking this storyline. I just really quick, you might want to look it up. It sounds eerily familiar to the storyline for the character. I believe the character's name was Zombie, but it was spelled with an X instead of a Z, and it was on DC's Milestone imprint. That sounds kind of similar to one of the villains that was on there. Just you might want to double check it just to make sure it's not. You want to avoid plagiarism, but I'm not accusing you of it. I'm just saying it sounds there might be certain similarities. You might want to check it. You might have to tweak one or two things, but I mean, I really like the storyline. That sounds fantastic.
Well, I mean, that was just one off the top of my head. The ultimate goal that I'm having is, I want to be able to explain the villain's backstories so that way people don't automatically assume that they're automatically evil.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's you're going on for the adventure on how they became to be a villain because they weren't given the opportunity to do good. Okay, this isn't fucking X-Men where Colossus says it just takes one moment. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
They were never given that opportunity.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds really good, and I'm one of those people that I've always said, the villains, especially as a writer, the villains are always the more interesting character. The heroes, to me they were always just a foil to give for you. You want to write a good villain, and that's always been the trick as a writer is to write the villain first. So I definitely like the approach that you're taking, and one of my favorite villains of all times, of course, is Victor Von Doom, and always has been. Gotta love Dr. Doom.
Okay, powers and abilities. Virtually immortal and indestructible. Fuck me running. The nanomachines in his body prevent aging or disease and instantaneously heal any injuries he might receive. His body leaves no waste products as his nanomachines recycle every bit of it. Within certain parameters, he is able to directly control them. Okay, so ripped my idea.
What, Zombie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, more or less, it's the same thing. I don't think it says anything about him being a scientist.
Right. That's why I was saying, there's certain angles because when I heard you talking about the scientist angle, for a split second, I was thinking of Dr. Alec Holland's Swamp Thing. It sounds a little bit like almost like.
Wait
Swamp
a minute,
Thing.
he was a fucking rip. I sound like an asshole now.
No, you don't. What you do is you sound like somebody who has a great idea because somebody else already did this idea years ago, and it was too groundbreaking back then, and the story got tanked because no one was interested in it because everyone's like, "What the hell is nanotech?" But and it's a story that's being done right now. The trick is, okay, you look at how this guy has it set up and see what you would do differently when you look at it seriously, because you're going to see the differences in your idea anyway. So just embellish those then. Downplay the things that are similar to this character and, upplay the ones that are different, and that's how you make this character more distinct.
I'm trying to see whether or not he's a hero or a villain.
I'm pretty sure Zombie was like
he's a superhero, yeah.
Yeah, he was an anti-hero. He was kind of like in the vein of Gambit. Yeah,
I can see that. I'm looking at the art for the comic.
Yeah. Yeah, because Gambit, of course, he was a hero with the quotes next to it. So very different than like a vein of like Wolverine. Wolverine, in my opinion, is like what the definition of a hero is, because Wolverine was a very complex human being and he did a lot of horrible shit, and was haunted by it. He had demons that haunted him. But he always, to me, his path was one of redemption. And that's the way it was written, like in the later years, is what actually rounded out the character for me. I didn't like Wolverine when I was younger. I was not interested in, like the 5-foot-tall badass Canadian that was constantly smoking cigars. It didn't appeal to me. And, it was when they showed him, like, in the later years as weary.
Oh, no. Okay, so Zombie wouldn't be like my idea because due to the combined effect of the destruction and recreation of the multiverse and the timeline-altering powers of Anansi, the new divergent timeline was created in which David Kim, which was the alter ego to Zombie, the most worthy man alive, became Green Lantern instead of Hal Jordan. Kim was one of the group of alternate Justice League members who helped restore the original timeline. So no, he was already a fucking a douche nozzle hero to begin with. He was not an anti-hero. He's one of those goody two shoes.
Okay. Well, again, I haven't read the book since I think 91. So, or whenever the hell it came out. I think, what was it, 91? Maybe a little bit later. Was it 93? It was
odd,
those
though, because it
milestones.
ran for 6 issues.
Yeah. Well, I was a comic book nerd. I was one of those kids. I would work, do like whatever odd jobs or whatever to get my hands on some cash, and then just go and rip through $20 at the comic book store. And this was back when books were still $1 a piece. So I'd walk in and buy 20 books every week at the least.
In my day, I could get an entire dinner for 45 cents.
Well, do you know how much the books are nowadays?
What is it, like $9.99? Your arm, leg, and a firstborn?
Something like that. When I stopped buying the books is when they shot up to $5 an issue for a regular book, and I said, "No, this is ridiculous. I'm not."
Well, that's why I go to free comic sites. I mean, there's nothing stopping me from right-clicking save as.
Yeah. It was just, Wednesday was my holy day. I went every day to the comic book store. I lived there basically, and I was one of those people that was constantly in the bins getting the back issues. I own, I think it would not be an exaggeration to say I own about 10,000 comic books. Easily.
You, sir, I'm going to tell you that you have no life. I'm just kidding.
No, believe it or not, that's part of the reasons I'm not computer literate. Up until everything happened in the past few years with Disney taking over Marvel and changing everything, and Jim Lee taking over DC and confusing the shit out of me because I didn't know what the hell was going on, and I'm still confused with DC. But up until then, I was so, engrossed in comic books. I just was really not that interested in anything that was going on the internet. People would show me things, and I'd be like, eh.
Well, Americans seems to have been fapping. for the end result there. But Tara, I'm sorry. I just completely came in and muffler stamped your whole entire stream. I am so sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Don't worry about it.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm also sorry, Kara. Optimus brought out my inner nerd. I don't usually get to really geek it up with you guys, so.
And you called me a nerd because I knew the ship's class.
That's a whole different level. I mean, you guys really, when I was sitting here listening to you guys go back and forth about that Star Trek shit, I'm like, wow. That's some deep blue nerd shit.
Don't get me started on Star Trek.
Bro, bring it up with Kelt. There you go. You guys can sit here and go. You can go over the whole Federal Navy. The whole
I'm one of those. I'm one of those people that liked Voyager more than William Shatner.
And I'm more of Deep Space Nine and Enterprise.
I can see the allure of Deep Space Nine. I just think like Voyager to me. I'm sorry, but Jerry Ryan, you're not going to beat her. At least in that time.
I like Deep Space Nine because it's more like Babylon 5 or Star Wars because it's focused on a war.
Right. Jerry Ryan is 7 and 9 though. I mean, I would stick it in her pooper and do a fucking barrel roll. Use the boost to get through.
And Keiko and Ensign Sato from Enterprise. Wait, was it Hoshi? Yeah, Hoshi Sato. Never mind.
Wait, Enterprise as in like Archer Enterprise?
Yeah, Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, I can see that.
The translator.
I'd mushroom stamp her and knock her out.
What's so funny?
Tara's just like cracking up.
Oh, I'm finding out more and more about my baby brother is all.
Yeah, no, I would walk up and whisper in her ear, like, "Hey, can I shove it in your ear?" It's like, no, I might go deaf. Why? Shove it in your mouth and you don't shut up.
Don't know what new you're learning about me. You already know I like Asians.
I'll be honest, and it's sad you can't even say this nowadays because it's considered racist, but you can't have preferences. Like, I never really was overtly into Asian women. I mean, I've seen some of these guys, like they'll walk into traffic if they see a nice looking Asian woman. I mean, if she's like ridiculously smoking hot, yeah, I can see it. But I mean, not automatically. Like my brother was like that. I mean, I like black women. I got no problem with them. I'm not saying I dislike Asian women. I like them. It's just, I'm not overly drawn to him. I got a nephew. He was really, I mean, like he had a real thing for Japanese women, the pale ones. Like he really was into that. And my brother was like that. My brother really liked black chicks. Holy shit. But I mean,
I've had them all, so it's like I don't have a, preference one way or another.
I'll be honest with you. I always preferred women with like a Mediterranean background, just for the food in the fridge.
You know what? Screw that. I do have a preference. Keep the house clean and have a goddamn hot meal on a fucking table when I get home.
Yeah, I could see that. Believe me, I could see that. But yeah, that was always my biggest dating preference was. And
they better make damn good coffee.
Yeah. What's a really good sell for me? Pancakes. Can she make good pancakes? That's the thing.
See, I'm not a big seller on breakfast food. I mean, like the bacon and eggs, that's fine enough for me.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, bacon and eggs is the staple, but I mean, pancakes is the extra mile. You gotta have. Look, bacon and eggs has to be. That's got to be in the equation. Otherwise, I'm out the door. That's just a given.
Yeah, it's and plus and they have to squeal with delight when I come home and it's like, you better not shout, you better not cry, you better bite the pillow. I'm going in dry.
Oh,
I was reading that to Burnside earlier today.
Oh God, you got to put that on a t-shirt.
Like I'll go off on some like off the wall stuff. Someone wants to get to know me on a personal level. And it's like, so what do you like on your women? Noses? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm about to give you a nose job from hell.
Oh my God. Tara, do you remember I told you about that girl I knew around the corner that wasn't too bright?
Yeah.
All right, yo, Optimus, check this out. There was this
Yeah.
girl I knew, and very pretty. She kind of looked like Fairuza Balk. This girl was Sicilian and Israeli. In the neighborhood, they would refer to a girl like her as a pizza bagel. So she had like I said, she looked like Fairuza Balk. Just that's enough. I don't have to sit here and describe her.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you said pizza bagel, and my mind went to acne.
No, I'm just saying because of her mixed heritage. That's like, it's a local colloquially, or however.
Bagel
I
bite?
was about to say it had a
Yeah.
whole different meaning when I was in school.
No, they would call like if you usually like a lot of people in the neighborhood who are of any Jewish descent and any form of Italian, they tend to refer to them as a pizza bagel. That's just, like myself being half Sicilian and half Irish, I used to get all the time pasta and potatoes. That was just like that was like the shorthand that they would say. It's local New York nonsense. But this girl, she was very pretty, but she was not too bright. And she started dating my best friend. And for whatever reason, because she wasn't too swift, she decided to ask me if I knew anything that this guy was into, like sexually. Now, most people, when asked a question like this, would probably react a different way than I did, but I
would fuck it up so badly. I would just troll her just.
Oh, that's what I'm getting at. Because I'm sitting there and I'm smoking this really fine joint of some Northern Bright. So I had the mischief in me already. And so she asked me, what's he into? So I look at her and she was very pretty, but she had this one distinguishing feature. She had a bit of a bulbous nose. So I said to her, well, check this out. He's into schnozzing. And she's like, what's schnozzing? I said, well, schnozzing is where you go like you're going to do a line of Coke and you hold one nostril. I said, but you put the tip of his penis under your nostril and you snort it. I said, you give him a nose job, basically. You bring it in and you run your nose up and down on it. She's like, he's into that? I said, yeah. So I just said this, like you said, trolling her. About a week or two later, this guy calls me up at 2 o'clock in the morning screaming at me about how this broad got a fucking bloody nose because she tried to shove his dick in her nose.
Oh, that's one hell of a nose job. No, I go more along the lines of, so he likes it when you just like walk in front of him, turn away from him, bend over, put syrup on your ass and say, slap butter on my ass because I'm on a roll.
Oh, the schnozzing thing, it's become the shit of a legend in this neighborhood, though. Because the word got out like wildfire because he decided to tell me this. And I'm one of those people, you can't confide certain things like that into me. You can't tell me about that. Like, there was, oh God, this other guy. And this one is fucked up when I heard it. And I laughed, and it was one of those things you shouldn't laugh at. But a guy in the neighborhood who shall remain nameless, he had gotten in a bit of a drug problem. And this guy was a really good writer. And he unfortunately mixed up the rehab with the award-winning writing college that he was supposed to be going to. So sitting there talking to the people on, he's sitting there talking to the people on the scholarship line about, the methadone and the sickness and the track marks and all that shit. Yeah, poor bastard. He fucked himself good on that. He mixed up CW Post College with CK Post Rehabilitation Center.
I'm unfamiliar.
One is an award-winning college for people like who are writers and journalists and novelists, and the other one is a detox center for junkies. And so he applied to one and got chosen for a scholarship from the other one and didn't realize it, and he thought it was the rehab center that called him, and it turned out it was this university.
So did he walk into the university like scratching his neck like a crack addict?
No, they sat there and they had like a conference call and called him because he was like the guy that they picked for this scholarship, and it was like a big deal. As a journalist, I wanted this scholarship, and they told me they called him on the conference call, and it's all these like heads of the department, and they're sitting there talking to him, and he's sitting there telling them about having to use the buckets like in fucking train spotting, and he's telling them all this shit, and he didn't realize it was the fucking university.
Yeah, I can't be a journalist these days. I actually provide facts.
Yeah, you're telling me, how much that bothers me as a journalist? Like, it's these fucking media, these talking heads, they've completely destroyed the credibility of what it means to be a journalist. All it's supposed to mean, what these moron mainstream media don't seem to grasp, is you go there and you just report what happens. You document history. Journalists, you keep a journal. That's all that means. You're supposed to be there as a witness. You're not
Just like
supposed
the
to
difference between a platform and a publisher.
Yeah. And they go there and they feel, oh, this is why I don't particularly care, especially right here at home with the New York News. I have a real problem with it because there's no facts. It's all fabrication. It drives me nuts. It's like the best thing I can relate it to is if you're one of those people for years with the kayfabe, with the wrestling, and pretending that it was real, and then like in the past few years when they came out and openly said it was fake, it's like you went to all this trouble for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And as a journalist, like what they're doing now with journalism, it's such a disgusting, sick joke. It's heartbreaking. It really is. They've ruined the industry and what it means to be a reporter and to report the news.
Well, that's why on my channel I'm switching it up a little bit. Mine's going to be tech and gaming news thrown in with a little comic stuff.
Nice.
My first, I already have it. I already have the talking points down. Bethesda, the history of and what went wrong.
I'll be completely honest. The past 10 years, because of everything that went on, my own personal life, I wasn't as much of an avid gamer. I still only have a PlayStation 2. I just never got around to upgrading. My nephews, to be fair, I had them living with me, so I just mooched off of them. I went and played on their systems. But that's one of the things I've been saying, especially now with the more and more about how things with Gamergate and now with what's been going on with comic books and everything. This is going to sound arrogant, but I do have chops, and I feel I might owe it to the industry because I enjoyed the industry for so long as a gamer to actually get back into gaming because I am a journalist and I'm not an SJW, and that's a fucking unicorn combination. And seriously,
so realistically, the only thing that gets talked about is SJWs in gaming, right?
Yeah.
You don't see the people actually doing the gaming and not giving a shit because there's no news on them. Because guess what? They're not giving a shit.
Yeah.
They're still the types of people. Female comes online, starts bitching about equal rights. Well, they can get the equal lefts in the game too.
Yeah.
It's like what you're the stereotypical go in, say you're out of ammo, then expect every single guy to drop ammo for you just because you're a chick. No, it doesn't work that way. Be competitive. You want to live up to the standards that gamers have had for ever. You got to put in work for it.
Yeah. I guess I never fell for any of that feminine wild shit probably because I got 5 older sisters. So I am a professional little brother. So like whenever there was women in any game I was playing, not just because they were women, just it depended on their personality. I was a bit of a troll. I was the guy that would do the dumb shit to piss everybody off. That's just my nature. I own a very wide array of Hawaiian shirts, and it looks especially funny because of how big I am. I look like a circus tent half the time. But I digress. I never understood the newest thing with these younger people with the equal rights, and they're all talking about racism, they're all talking about sexism, and this and that, and why are you here talking about this in the game? You're supposed to be doing this to unwind, not wind yourself up.
Right.
Yeah. And I love how the feminists are sitting here bitching about the video games. I got 2 words for you: Laura Croft. Seriously, that she's the definition of what it means to be a role model, and they don't like the fact that
the
she's not
pixelated boobies.
Yeah, I actually liked the fact that she was as nice looking as she was, the way that they had it done up, but she was a brain. That I liked that combination, because to me it showed these young girls, just because you got like a nice caboose does not mean that you can't use what's on top of your shoulders. That's just me. I guess, again, because I got 5 sisters and, let me see, about 18 nieces. Maybe give it take like 3. I got to really sit here and count them out later.
I'm sorry about that. I don't have family, so
it's all good. There's a lot of bad blood, so I don't see them. But I'm just saying, I did see them for a long time. So coming off of that, like, my whole thing is just I see them. A lot of these young people, they're pushing a lot of contention that don't need to be pushed, and that's where you get things like Gamergate. And that's part of what I was getting at. Is I'm thinking of if I can start getting some crowdfunding donations in. Actually, like, I'm trying to obviously use my own income to get stuff, but I'm a little bit between a rock and a hard place. But anyway, I'm trying to get like a console so I can start gaming again, because it's one of the things, like, I hear a lot of people talking to me about how there's no good gaming journalism, and I'm, pretty much a
whoa, them's fighting words now.
A present company accepted, of course.
I was about to say, it's like MWM Media. I did the gaming stuff for like League of Legends. Now I want to actually expand on that. A lot of people don't understand the history of developers and don't have the context necessary to put everything together. They just go based on mob mentality.
Yeah. I got what you're saying.
And so with my stuff, they may or may not watch it. I mean, but the shit is going to be out there. Like tell me the first thing you know about Bethesda that isn't about Fallout 76.
Yeah. I couldn't even tell you, because it's been that long since I followed any of this. Like, that's the thing. Gaming has become a lot more intimate. I want to say in the past probably 10 years easily. And I'm somebody who's been in the gaming scene since the 80s. So, like, how it's morphed in the past few years, like, especially like the gaming conventions, those used to be where it was only for like the deep blue nerds. And now it's like shorthand for youth. Like, you have to be into going to these conventions. You have to be into the LAN tournaments and these sorts of things. The way that it's changed so much in the past few years, to me, as somebody who comes from, growing up as an adolescent in the 20th century, it amazes me. Like, my neighbor down the block, she's actually, unfortunately, Antifa, so she don't talk to me no more. But I remember once I was walking home with her and one of her friends, just some boy, and again, the platonic relationships between these kids, it amazes me. They're like a whole different sort of life form. These kids were actually having a conversation in, like, I guess, for lack of a better term, chat speak, like LOL, LMAO, like they were talking like that. I couldn't believe they were having like the lion's share of their conversation in that abbreviated language. And
so back in my day, we call it shorthand. Now they got like text speech or whatever. No, I call it shorthand.
Yeah.
And I hate it when people like message me like that or text me like that. It's like, no, you message me or text me, you better speak clear sentences.
Yeah. The only thing I'll ever do is be right back. I'll write BRB, because obviously I'm running away really quick, and maybe AFK at the same time. I'll do those two. But again, that's like when we're in a hangout and I don't want to say it on the air, and I don't want to write a whole fucking novel in the side chat. So that's about it. But yeah, like when I write to people like this, there are a few people thankfully not too many that I've talked to on here, because luckily most of the people I talk to are older. But there are a few of these younger people I've talked to. I don't even know what the hell they're saying. Like when I first started talking to Burnside, I had to say to him, "What the fuck do you mean?" Because it wasn't him. It was actually somebody else. They kept writing AFK whenever I was talking to him. I thought that they was like shorthand, like writing me like "go fuck yourself." So I asked him, "What's your problem?" Because I didn't even know what it meant. Like I think Tyro was the one who called me. He's like, "You're a bit of a boomer, Scoob." And I said, I guess you're right. I mean, I'm not even 40 yet, but I don't know half of this shit.
See, I'm at the age where, like, in the middle of my life, like up until I was born till the middle of my life, I didn't have technology like everyone did.
Yeah.
So then it's like I came into it and I was like, oh, this is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I learned everything I could about it. And it's like, I think that's where the real disconnect between later generations where they already had the technology is because people that didn't have it their entire lives, they still have the ethic, the work ethic and stuff like that to be able to get shit done while still being able to appreciate and unwind at the end of the day. While, people these days, that have lived with technology their entire life, they don't understand the concept. They think everything is essentially a get-rich-quick scheme or a big major troll fest or a big giant penis, measuring contest. By the way, mine's bigger. So it's it just turns out to be one of those, and then you got people like me just sitting and watching. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, man. It makes you pine for when things were simpler. I never really thought that I'd want to harken back to like the 90s, but wow, shit was so much simpler back then. I mean, I didn't have to worry that like my newest video game was going to trigger somebody, or that I had to make sure that the main characters weren't going to be guilty of body shaming.
That's what I like about indie developers is like now that I'm starting to dabble in and starting to do research into the world of like developing games, like the smaller creators, they're just like, you know what, I'm gonna be that difference, and the purpose of this game is to troll. That's when you had the era of creating an Anita Sarkeesian game getting punched in the face multiple times. It's fucking fantastic.
I actually had, I think I told you about the RPG I was designing. I had a few elements that I was designing for that are very troll related, but I segue into that. We're going to be going on for another hour about it. And I think we put Terra and her brother to sleep. Terra, you guys awake?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. You guys are really quiet.
No, I was.
Well, you guys keep talking.
Sorry.
Again, I'm sorry. I just muffler stamped everything. I can go in and focus on the game if need be.
No. Please believe me. It's an enjoyable conversation. I just realized that we're monopolizing the airtime, and these two, they haven't had a chance to chime in.
Well, I know it's going to be a struggle for me, but I will shut the hell up. Okay.
No, it's quite all right. Believe me.
Like my mom. No, seriously, my mom actually has struggles to shut up. We were driving home from one Thanksgiving a few years ago, and she says that she'll be quiet now. Seconds later, she goes on a rant. Once she's done with that rant, she goes, I'm going to be quiet now. Another few seconds later, and she goes on another rant.
I've actually just been sitting here reading chat.
My father, may he rest in peace. I think I told you, he took the radio out of his car, and because he didn't like what was on it. And we would drive in the car. My father was one of those ones, like he'd be like, all right, shut up now. Like he didn't want me talking too much. But he was really weird. He was like, we would be driving, and we were driving once. We were hauling scrap metal from New York up to Maine. And it was just like every few miles, all of a sudden, he would just start talking to me about something. It was just the damnedest thing with him. He was weird like that. He would just see something that would remind him, and he'd turn to me and he'd go like this, 1952, the Bronx. I saw a car just like that, and he'd give me this story, and then that was it. And then a few months, few miles later, we'd be driving, and then all of a sudden he'd do it again. He'd be like, you know, I seen a truck like that back in 1968, and you know, it's just what the old man used to do. He's bizarre like that. It was cool though. Cool. You had a weird personality like that.
When you go back in time, like the only thing that I can see in my head is back in my day, we used the bathroom to take a shit, not selfies.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, you would have loved my father then. He said to me once about my music. Because I said to him, when he took the radio out of the car, I said, why did you take the radio out of the car? And he goes like this, well, what the hell do I want to have it in my car for? It's all Lies from Israel and that Mau Mau Comanche music. And so I go like this to him. I said, I was talking to him about something, and he said about modern music. He's like, what? He's like, they all sing like they're getting their balls ripped off, and they're up on stage throwing their instruments at each other. He did not like modern music at all, and it was just, I found it really colorful how he would talk sometimes about the music that I listened to. Like, I remember once I was watching MTV, and he comes in the room, and the video just started, and I wasn't really watching it. It just came on, and it was Jeremy by Pearl Jam. And he's watching the beginning of the video, and he starts listening to the lyrics when he starts talking. And he looks at me, he's like this. He's like, I don't know how the hell they filmed the video. If I was the cameraman, I would have just put the camera down and walked away.
And see, what I heard when you explained that story was, back in my day, when I wanted to have sex, I had to walk uphill both ways in the snow with a boner to get a condom.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, my mother was more of the one for those sorts of stories about how hard it was back then. My father he wasn't a complainer. He always used to say to me, shut up, don't complain, no one's going to listen.
He wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't. You know, he was cool like that. I always tell everybody, it's an obscure movie. It's from the late 90s. It was called Boiler Room with Giovanni Ribisi, and there was a small part Ben Affleck had in it. I highly recommend it, though. There's a scene in the movie, and I tell everybody this is what my father was like. Because Burnside always asked me, what's the best way I could describe my father as? And there's this speech in the movie where it's Giovanni Ribisi goes to see his father, and they meet at the diner. And they're both, you know, they both live in Queens. And not that it matters, but they're both Jews. And the father is a judge. And he's sitting there and he's talking to his son, and the son is a fuck up. And he's trying to talk to him. He's like, I'm just trying to work on our relationship. And he looks at him and he goes, relationship? He said, what are you, high? He said, I'm not some teenage girl. I'm your father. And, you know, he's like, look, you know, why can't we be friends? And he says, I'm not your friend. I'm your father. When you fuck up, I'm here to tell you that you did wrong and to straighten you out. That's it. Your mother can be your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm your father. Get it through your head. That was how my father was.
Yeah, you got to rely on self-motivation to do anything because, to be honest, I have to remind myself of that every day because there'll be something that I'm working on that I think's really cool and something that I've been working on for quite a while. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to show it off. And then I have to remind myself, I was like, no, you got to be prepared for them not to say anything.
Yeah.
Because they don't owe you that. Nobody does. And it's like you have to rely on self-motivation and get yourself through that as sort of like a self-help tactic.
I was very lucky in so much as where I live, because the one thing we're known for around here is pessimism. So I was very fortunate because I had a Herculean task of getting anything I had to go over. So I would show people things and they would pick it apart at every turn, which is actually a good thing looking back on it in hindsight, because anything I worked on, it gave me the ability to hone my craft and to make whatever I was working on that much better. So it sucked in the beginning, when I was younger, because you're trying out as a writer to write different things. And the criticism was vicious and fierce. But yeah, you throw in the towel a lot, and that lasts for about 10 minutes until you get frustrated again and you pick up the pen again. But having to deal with that sort of like gauntlet of criticism, to me, you hone so much better story elements. Again, that's it. What it all comes down to is as long as the criticism is constructive, that's the key word, constructive. So, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I have to look at criticism as constructive as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you let it get you down, guess what? Then you remain stagnant. Stagnant's bad.
Yeah. The other thing too, you have to treat yourself every once in a while, and you have to be honest with yourself. You have to look at the criticism, and it's not hubris to say, well, this person is just an asshole. Because honestly, if you're looking at what they're saying, and you can say with all honesty and with no ego, whether they're right or wrong, and you look at their motivations, like there are certain people, and this is also another thing, when you get a very harsh criticism, look at who the critic is and look at their track record, because there are just some critics who are harsh with everyone and everything. They're just harsh critics. Then you do have takedown artists. And that's what I tell everybody. And there's no shame in looking at somebody and right off the bat being like, well, this person their opinion really isn't that valid because they're an asshole. There's nothing wrong with saying that. If you can look at what they wrote, like, again, if it's constructive criticism, it's one thing. But when it's just like flat out criticism, like Optimus Christ, I don't like what you did because I don't like Doug. Well, there's nothing constructive about that.
Well, I have a muffler, so I win.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as it's constructive, you're gonna have haters, and haters are gonna hate. And I tell people that's your fuel. Your fuel is the haters, because if they can come at you and they can tell you all sorts of shit, and it doesn't do anything to improve what you did, well, you just pissed that person off enough where they had to take the time out of their day and construct this shit to send to you. So you just won a victory. All the hatred you get about what you're doing, you got to look at it as, okay, I'm doing something right because they're hating it. You really got to look at it that way, because if they love what you're doing, people will not say a word to you. It's the damnedest thing. They'll just sit there and smile and wave. But if that is your goal, is to tweak them, and you're getting that really non-constructive criticism, then you're doing the right thing. Like, it's a commercial with Ricky Gervais. I forget what it was for, but it was on like a few years ago, and it's him and his niece, and they're in the car, and she's looking on the pad, like one of those iPads, and she's reading off all these horrible emails he was getting, and she looks like she's ready to burst into tears, and she's like, Uncle Ricky, why are they saying all these mean, horrible things about you? And he says to her, well, honey, that means I'm doing something very right. So
I don't think my goal would be to piss people off with what I do.
Oh, okay, because you were talking about trolling before, that's why.
Oh no! I did that in middle school and high school. I grew out of that quickly. I was like, I thought of all sorts of different things. It's now I'm older. I put away the childish stuff.
I can see it, but every once in a while, if the universe presents you with a gift, you really should tug on the ribbon.
Well, these days in society, facts piss off people more than trolling does.
And so you can troll them with facts. It's a beautiful thing.
It's just a byproduct. But the thing is, like, I don't think my goal is to piss anyone off.
Yeah.
I mean, I do what I do because I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the reasons why I can stay where I am.
Yeah.
people know I don't choose sides because, frankly, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like, is it about video games? No. Okay, I'm gonna go make a video game. Peace out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's my whole point. Like, if in today's world, it's such a sad thing, but that's the best way to gauge if you're doing something properly. Like what we're talking about, because I'm guessing for the most part, you and I probably see things of a certain way. Like, this is SJW nonsense. It's just that nonsense. So, but it's unfortunately the way that they've been rigging things, the elites, they make it look like the SJW thing is the be all end all. So, in today's market, unless you're getting that seething hatred from these SJWs, you're not accomplishing as much. I should have been more clear when I was talking about it before. Sorry.
Yeah, no, not a problem. As for the SJW thing, the thing is, anything that doesn't go according to their line of view pisses them off. So, I mean, it's extremely easy to piss them off because they have a very linear line of view.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like it'll piss them off if I don't say anything. That's winning enough.
Or you could just wait, and when somebody writes you one of those things that's like 7 or 8 pages as a comment, just all you do as a reply is just write to them, praise Doug.
That's what I literally do.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's people that you do that to, and it's innocuous too. It doesn't mean anything, and they read that and they probably turn fucking violet. How dare he just respond to me with praise Doug after I wrote him fucking 30 pages?
And in my response, praise Doug.
Yeah, exactly. That's unfortunate. It is, because I know, like you said, you don't really want to troll anybody, but at the same time, the fact that they react this way, it's, oh my God, it really is like potato chips. You can't just eat one. So I try not to troll people because it's like a fucking smack addiction. It's like whack-a-mole with retards. It really is. You're like pinging pennies off their helmets. I mean, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. I gotta stop. But you know what I'm saying?
I can see, that side of things. That's not a problem. But in the day and age where the slightest word said wrong can offend people, the only winning move is not to play.
Yeah, I know. It is sad because I so do love a good outrage mob like the next person, but yeah, it's getting to the point now. It's turning into an outrage army. So,
like I'm playing a game right now. I'm just like, fuck it.
What game?
I am playing Terraria.
Cool. What's it about?
Think of it as like a 16-bit Minecraft. It's a platformer.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to do some things to where I can get a screenshot for the for my next thumbnail.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
For the podcast.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, you're in my service, so definitely, because I told Miastra, and he started posting whenever he streams up in my my shill channel. Definitely post your stuff up there as much as you can, so I can check it out.
I usually post the channel. I mean, if people subscribe, I'm not gonna inundate all servers with every single stream or video I do, because I mean it's not me. I'll put the channel out. They have the option to go watch the content. If they like it, they can subscribe. Maybe it's not all for them. That's fine. But to put, let me ask you this: in the shilling area of your server, realistically, how often do you look at that?
Oh, I check it out actually every morning. I got time. I get up very early, and I got to wait.
You're the 1%. Let me ask someone else. Terra. Even in my server, I'll make the effort to look at, whoever's posting their live streams and whatnot. But realistically speaking, if I'm working on my own stuff, I'm not. That's the last thing I'm going to be checking into.
Yeah.
Well, so it's why would I flood it with my own shit when I know people's not going to look?
I got you. Like me, you know what it is? I get up in the morning. I get up every morning at 5 a.m. and I take my wife to work at around like 6:30, and I come back and I gotta wait to go pick her back up again at about like between 9 and 10, depending. And that's everything doesn't open up till 9 anyway. All the government buildings, courthouses, etc. So I usually have about 2 hours and 45 minutes that I'm just sitting there. So I turn on the coffee, and one of the first things I do is I check the shill chat to see what, because it shows me that somebody posted in it. So I just go and I scroll down and like, oh, okay, so and so made a new video. I'll try to check that out later. It looks interesting. That's about it.
Yeah, realistically speaking, like out of all the servers that I'm a part of, maybe 3 of them, including my own, are gaming servers.
Yeah.
So it's like if I posted in any other server, it's just like, what the fuck is this doing in here? This isn't about politics, or and I'm just like, oh well, and let me just go ahead and fap over here.
Yeah. Well, my server isn't really political. It's more like an insane asylum. The reason the main chat is titled "The Democratic National Committee needs to be declared a domestic terrorist organization" is just a hell of an icebreaker. Other than that, I'm not really. There's not a lot of politics.
That's too long of a name. It's now Doug.
I like that. Yeah, no, but my servers, it's a free for all. The rules are no skin, no scat, and no gore. Anything else goes.
Someone's getting a golden shower. Hold on a second.
That falls under scat. That if you look in the rules,
no, scat is specifically, feces.
Well, if you look at the rule, I actually elaborate. No bodily fluids of any form.
So I can't spit on people?
I got to think about that. There's a guy in the neighborhood.
I'm not sure I want to stay in the server now. I mean, if I can't spit on a person.
Oh no, that's the one thing is like there's not really any sexual shit in the server. I mean, if you want to spit on somebody like you don't like them, you want to piss on them that you don't like them, yeah, you can do that all day, just not in a sexual manner. It's one of those things. The way I have it set up in the server is, I don't want to see what you guys are into any more than you want to see what I'm into. It's one of those things like, it's a mutual. Let's all not talk about it. There are other servers that we're all in. I mean, if I really want to show people how weird I am, I can just go and hang out in the Deviant stream all day.
What if I like to, the thing that I'm into is being left alone?
That's fine. The server will be perfect for you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like
I love my alone time.
Yeah. Like in the one channel I post the most in my game, in my server is the Dungeon Master's Keep. And you're already in that channel with me. You and I were talking about you were explaining the Spore engine to me because I had no idea what the hell you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically the one channel I hang out in all the time. There's no politics in there at all. It's just me working on the ecosystem at this point for an RPG I'm designing. Just straight up nerd shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I've taken a look and I'm like, holy shit, 286 new messages. I'm just going to go ahead and mark this as read because I don't have the 6 hours it takes to go through all that shit.
Yeah, I've been busy, to say the least. But I'm pretty much almost done fleshing out the ecosystem. Then I can work on it's not really that hard figuring out weather patterns. I just got to make sure everything fits, and just a little bit of shuffling once I figure out, oh, okay, this weather pattern is going to kill the animals I have here. So got to slide shit around. But this is all for the backdrop too. None of this shit is actual important to gameplay. I'm just a stickler for details. I was talking about it the other day. I have a real problem, like when you be playing Dungeons and Dragons, and the Dungeon Master, you're supposed to be in an analog of, let's say, Germany, and he's telling you about how you just came across a raccoon or a possum or some other thing, and I'm looking at the guy like, do you know nothing about ecology? Those are all North American animals, you idiot. So that's part of
My response to that would be, it's a fantasy game. Roll with it.
It's one of those things that always irked the shit out of me. So part of the thing I wanted to do was make this like, yes, it's a high fantasy game, but there's accuracy, like as
You
far
you
as
would you would be more like an economics lawyer instead of a rule lawyer. Or,
probably.
yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm tired of shit.
No, I hear you. Plus, I'm as boring as fuck, so that's a bad combination. So.
Nah, I just brighten up everyone's day by translating your long ass stories.
That's actually a good thing because I was long-winded as hell. My brother always used to say, "Jesus Christ, you could bore your way through sheetrock."
No, it's Optimus Christ because Jesus can't turn into a truck.
Booyah!
But no, it's I think from now on I'm gonna once you launch into this long story, I'm just gonna sit and wait patiently until you finally run out of breath and turn blue, and I'm gonna be like, translation back in my day, insert weird thing here.
Pretty much. You know me well, sir. Oh yeah, that reminds me, Terra. You said before you were reading the chat. We got anything good?
Do you really want to hear it?
I'm sure
I've
they're
got
probably
two
saying
stories.
it's probably like Jesus. Shut up.
Full disclosure. If we go into this line, I will have to take my leave. As I said, no skin.
Oh, it's that good, huh? All right, so never mind. What were you saying about stories now, Kel?
Yeah, I've got a Phoenix, Arizona man and a Virginia story.
Ooh, nice. Whatever one you want to lead off with.
Why does this sound like a hold my beer moment?
Well, Virginia's telling New York to hold its beer.
Hmm?
I said Virginia is telling New York to hold its beer.
Oh, what is going on in Virginia now?
Virginia Dems introduced bill to allow abortion right before a woman is giving birth. They said that she can be dilating and abortion is still an option.
I heard about that.
It can be seconds before the baby is born, and abortion is still an option.
I'm pro-choice and I'm sighing. So,
Okay. What state did this?
Virginia.
And how many weeks are they allowing it to go up to?
Seconds before the baby is born. She can be dilating, and abortion would still be an option.
I'm gonna piss so many people off if they live in Virginia. But you want to know why they passed that law?
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
To negate all the hookups and meetups of family reunions.
I would not be surprised, and that's not even a swipe at Virginia. Just with these lawmakers, their reasoning for doing shit. Like, did you hear why my governor came up with the 5 bullets in the magazine rule? If you can't kill him in 5 shots. And I'm thinking to myself, what happens if there's 6 attackers, asshole? Like, really? What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
The question that needs to be posed here is that, so for the people who utilize weapons as purely self-defense, what makes them think that they're not willing to die to keep their gun rights?
Yeah.
Like that's my question. Like, I am very pro.
Hello?
He keeps going in and
Let me
out.
ask you this. Are you willing to die to try and take my gun, knowing that I have a gun? Because I'm willing to die to keep mine.
Yeah.
And since you don't have one, there's a very good chance that I'm going to win.
The fact that they're openly trying to disarm the populace and that these young people, they're screaming at you. Oh, guns kill people. No. Guns kill people like spoons make you fat. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic here.
Guns don't kill people. I do.
Yeah.
And pencils make spelling
Seriously.
errors.
Pencils
Now,
make
let
you
me
what?
ask you guys.
Huh?
Spelling errors. Just so,
Oh,
yeah, spoons make you fat. Pencils make spelling errors. Yeah, but I'll say this: I've lived in New York my entire life, and on our news, unfortunately, there are a lot of murders. I have never once seen them show a mug shot of a Glock. Not once. Never seen a Colt 45. Never seen Springfield 1911. Never seen any of that shit. I always see a perpetrator, never a weapon. So again, when I hear guns kill people, I have to sit there and raise an eyebrow very slowly to that one. Seriously, it's just dumb. Guns don't kill people.
Oh
They
yeah,
use
something
to
else I
kill
forgot about that Virginia abortion bill.
Mhm.
And the reasoning for the abortion can be if the giving birth might cause the woman I think it was either mental or emotional harm. Nothing
well,
physical.
fuck, they're all screwed then.
Find the article.
It's in the side chat.
You know what?
So
Hold on,
it's
hold
from
on. I'm
Infowars,
gonna
but
put on my movie
Tim Pool
announcer
did a
voice for this
video
shit.
about it.
When I go movie announcer voice, shit's about to get real.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna mute to avoid any background noise.
In the side chat, the all I see is blackface.
Yeah.
Oh right, wrong one. That's the other story I have.
So there we go. Oh, and this is from Infowars too. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, but I trust the video that they linked to it and Tim Pool's video.
So the title is "Sick Virginia Dems Introduce Bill to Allow Abortion Right Before Woman is Giving Birth," and says Virginia House Democrats are proposing legislation that would allow abortions to be performed right up until a woman is giving birth. The Repeal Act, introduced as HB 24901, would eliminate all existing restrictions on abortion in the state of Virginia, allowing third trimester abortions to be performed if a doctor judges that the baby is a threat to the mental or physical health of the woman in a substantial or in a non-Doug way. Fuck it. During the exchange between Todd Gilbert and something that looks like up, down, left, right, PA start, and Kathy Tran.
I think this is pointing that he's Republican.
Oh,
R for Republican, D for
that
Democrat.
makes sense. That makes sense. The full horror of the legislation was slowly realized. So there is a transcription. And then down below, the Tran justified the bill by claiming existing restrictions cause emotional distress for low-income women and women of color in Virginia. No surprise there. The Supreme Court also defines health as emotional, psychological, familial, and the woman's age, meaning the notion of any kind of threat to the woman's health posed by the baby could be applied broadly. Last week, Governor Andrew Cuomo, Democrat of New York, signed, did I say that? Democrat of New York?
Yeah.
Looks like it. Signed a similar bill into law, which allows murder of unborn babies up until the moment of birth for a wide swath of reasons.
And actually, I read that article. No, it was if the baby is like brain dead, gonna kill the mother, or have a slew of birth defects, that it's not going to have a happy and healthy life. Those were stipulations in there.
It's right here. The Supreme Court also defines health as emotional, psychological, familial, and women's age. Now,
and there's
realistically speaking, when have
one for Andrew Cuomo?
What's that?
Bill he signed into law. The article I read specifically defined that the only way that women would be able to get this late term of abortion is if the baby is going to be born stillborn or no brain activity. If the mother is like going to die at that late term, or if the child is going to have a slew of birth defects, that will keep it from having a happy, healthy life.
Then Virginia told New York to hold the keg.
Well, okay, so in the transcription, Gilbert says, so how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that? Tran said, it's very unfortunate that our physician witnesses were not able to attend today. Gilbert said, no, I'm talking about your bill. How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman? And then Tran said, or physical health. Gilbert said, okay, I'm talking about the mental health. So Gilbert's like keeping the feet to the fire, so to speak. Tran said, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks. Gilbert says, okay, but to the end of the third trimester? Tran said, yep, I don't think we have a limit on the bill. Gilbert says, where it's obvious a woman is about to give birth, she has physical signs that she's about to give birth. Would that be a point in which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilated. Tran said, Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision for the doctor, trying to shun it off the doctors and physicians. Gilbert said, I understand. I'm asking if your bill allows that. And Tran said, yes. So they were talking about the mental health, and it was confirmed all the way up until birth. So, it's not just the fact of the baby having complications. Is the woman's fifis hurt?
Is it
She
still
can get
just
an abortion.
Yeah, like I said, that's the one that Governor Como signed in. This is the one for Virginia.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it last night on the air, but I just want to reiterate. The Cardinal by me, Cardinal Dolan, is pushing to have Governor Cuomo excommunicated from the Catholic Church. They're not too happy about this. And it's kind of ironic because this might actually affect Cuomo's ability to get the vote to the extent that he wanted to get it here. Because I don't know if you guys know, the large influx of people who have been coming here, these illegals that these Democrats count on, you guys know they're mostly Catholic, right? Most of these Latin Americans, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, they're all Catholic. Yeah, and they're all usually very devout. So Cuomo gets excommunicated, he's not going to get the election that he wants, definitely, because this is all him trying to get into the White House.
Screw it, I'll run for president.
Please do. I'd vote for you in a heartbeat over him. Bro, do you know how much it bothers me? As my father was a Sicilian, and that this guy would be our first Sicilian president. That drives me fucking nuts. Like, yes, I'd like to see one day, but not him. Please, God, anybody but him.
My first law is feminism is illegal.
That's fine. That's fine.
Unfortunately, presidents can't make laws.
Feminism is illegal and is punishable by beer
wait,
commercials.
okay. So I wouldn't be able to make it illegal. However, I could classify it as a terrorist organization.
That's even better. I'd actually rather that it be made illegal and that the penalty be that they be forced to watch a couple of 100 hours worth of 1980s beer commercials.
Complete with an entire compilation of recorded Tupperware parties.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking because they're feminists, the beer commercials back then, all it was TNA. Like, those commercials, and you make them watch the Juicy Fruit commercials. Like, holy shit, the slow motion in those commercials, it blew Baywatch out of the water. No, seriously, I remember there was this one Juicy Fruit gum, by the way, for anyone. I don't even know if they still make it, but I remember they had this one commercial, and it was on the air back then, and they took it off the air for a while and put it back on. I hate saying it because the whole thing was the girl is running on the beach, and she's wearing a bikini top, and it's in slow motion, and She's very animated is the best way to put it, and it was like offending people. I can't believe I remember this controversy. I think that that commercial came out like 31 years ago. That girl probably looks like shit now.
The Real Men of Genius commercials.
Oh my god, I love those.
Real Men of Genius.
The nacho hat one. Oh god.
Mr. Nacho Hat Seller Guy.
Yeah. I haven't seen one of those in years. Do they still make them?
No, I don't think they do. If they do, it's with a shoddy voiceover actor.
No, I meant the nacho hats.
I'm not sure. Let me
You know what I remember when I was a kid? I remember because I'd see the teenagers would have it. And this is something you're not going to see. This is something that was in the 20th century. You remember the beer ball? I think Coors and Budweiser made them. It was like a keg that was clear acrylic plastic the size of a basketball. You remember those things?
I do not. I'm looking up the nacho hat stuff, and apparently they don't sell them like pre-made, but they do give you recipes to make them yourself. But we really have to shut up because I think Terra's about to ban us both.
Sorry.
No, I'm not.
I'm. This is the point where you laugh, Terra. Jeez.
Terra's smoldering right now. What are you doing, by the way, Terra?
Trying to get Burnside's ass in here.
I was just talking to him. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He's finally responding to me. He was eating something again.
Again?
Again, yes. Yeah, he's like, "What's up? I just ate." God bless him.
So, anyone curious about what's going on in Phoenix, Arizona?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, go ahead and read it. And actually read it. Don't just go, oh.
What do you mean, don't go, oh?
Trying to remember what it says. Actually read it.
All right. Old photo of soot-covered coal miners is racist blackface, says offended idiot.
I'm okay with that. I was reading the article, so I'm cool with that.
Just when you thought snowflakes couldn't get any more pathetic. You want me to keep reading?
Yeah, you make it sound better. You make it sound epic. Me, I sound like the kid from Billy. What's the Adam Sandler movie? Today, Junior.
An opinion columnist for the Arizona Republic newspaper penned an article in which he claimed that an old photograph of coal miners covered in soot was racist because it reminded him of offensive blackface. Yes, this really happened. Oh my fucking Lanta.
Wow.
Come on, how can you not pay for that voice?
Seriously, I like it.
I mean, it's on Fiverr.
That's cool. Definitely got to post the link in the side chat.
Yeah, I'll hoard that shit out. See if people want to pay for my voice reading whatever the fuck they write.
You guys,
I'm looking at this article. Wow.
It goes on.
Yeah.
But then ludicrously asserts that context doesn't matter because his fifis are the only thing that does. Oh man, that's... Yeah. No.
I think there was also another article that was complaining about blackface in Mary Poppins.
It's right down below that too.
Oh,
I
it's the
just
same
saw
one.
that shit. Oh boy, I'm actually checking out this tweet.
But yeah, now white men are not allowed to be dirty.
You know,
Literally.
I hate saying this, but would it be considered racist for me saying that I want to slap this guy and tell him, get your head out your ass?
Well, I don't know what race this guy is.
So I'm trying to find context, and it seems that so the name is Godfrey Elfwick. Well, with a name like that, no wonder it'd be offended. Like it's something you would see in like a medieval fantasy time that somebody named an elf that.
Wow, that's so funny. They're all crazy.
Yep.
Ooh, hey, one of the developers I actually like actually has a progress on a new game. Yes.
Oh, nice. So what do we got?
So the developer Shining Rock Software. Let me double check what game they have because I have so many. The game Banished, known for the game Banished. It's a resource management RTS. Came out with. I don't know the name of it. I don't think it listed the name. It just posted a screenshot of the progress it was making. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that and post it on the side.
Cool.
But yeah, if you don't have the game Banished, look it up on YouTube for like gameplay stuff. It actually, I mean, for the amount of content it has, I mean, it's actually really great. And in my opinion, it's still unfinished and it has room for so much more. But I mean, still, this developer's solid.
All right, cool.
Sorry, I had to go clean the kitchen. Well, put the food away.
So what do they specialize in, these folks?
Basically resource management. Let me check, because as far as I know, the only game that they've created was Banished.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to look that up. The one time the internet decides to travel at the speed of smell.
Ain't it always the way?
Yeah.
Hey guys, I actually think I gotta hop out. I'm starting to doze off sitting here.
All right.
It's 1:45 anyway. I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Yo, Optimus.
You got anything to show? Optimus.
Okay, that was interesting. Must be the 208 tabs that I have opened up. Yeah, I heard that you might have to hop off because you're tired. I was like, yeah, you're tired because we ain't talking about comic books.
No, it's not that. It's 1:45 by me, and I got to be up in 4 hours. And I've been up since 5 o'clock yesterday morning, so
Did
I'm starting
we
to
lose him?
I'm here.
Oh, I didn't hear your response to that. You was like, no, and then it cut out.
Oh, yeah, that was what I was saying. Was the two things were one, I've been up since 5 o'clock in the morning, and I got to get up at 5 again. It's 1:45 by me. And also, my computer isn't that good, and it's starting to crap out. And I am starting to doze off. So it's like a whole combination of shit that's happening right now. That's why I was going to hop out.
Make sure you get your pre-sleep fap in.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just got to make sure my wife doesn't wake up and punch me in the teeth.
Well, I mean, if she does, then just finish on her teeth. It's
Well, the whole point is the pearl necklace. You know.
That he doesn't know about.
Yeah. She was when she wakes up like, why is my shirt sticking to me? But yeah.
and then you whisper in her ear, Superman.
Bro, it was a pleasure. I haven't streamed with you in a good minute, and I do miss it. I really do. Yeah, you make me laugh, and not too many people can do that. But
I make myself laugh. I just look in the mirror.
Yeah, guys, I'm hopping out. Optimus, it was a pleasure. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Good night, all.
Hey, you have a good one.
Yep, you too. Later, guys.
Later.
Optimus, you got anything to show? Because he's not the only one falling asleep and has to get up early.
I mean, if you have stuff to do, I can pretty much fuck off.
Oh no, I was gonna kill the stream.
Oh yeah, go for it. I mean, and none of the stuff that I have to show anyway is probably entertaining enough. So,
I mean, go for it. I had 8 viewers so far. So,
well, I was just looking up all the games that Shining Rock Software did, and I didn't complete the search quick enough because the internet wants to travel at the speed of smell at this point.
if you want, I can send you a link tomorrow and we can talk about it again.
Oh yeah, I can look into it. I think a lot of my energy is going to be invested into making that game finally.
I get that.
And then making creepypasta videos.
All right. Well, this has been the Musketeers show, which is mine. God damn it! Everyone, have a good night.
Autobots, lick my ass.
No.